Okay, let's begin. So hello everyone and welcome to another student-led Q&A session for the University of Washington's Communication Leadership Program. FYI, this session is being recorded and will be available on our YouTube channel later. For those of you who might not know much about the program, Communication Leadership, or Comm Lead, as we like to call it, is a graduate program at the University of Washington in Seattle, offering communications degree in digital media, communities and networks, and communication leadership. The program has been around for over 20 years, and its dynamic and applied curriculum leads students into transformative roles. During our time in the program, we build the necessary communication knowledge, strategies, and skills to manage content, information, systems, people, and change. For today's session, we'll give you a brief introduction of ourselves and the program, leaving most of the time to answer questions you may have about it, about the student experience and our backgrounds. Please feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat and send in your questions. We'll get to them in the Q&A part of the session. Before we dive right in, my name is Valeska. I'm currently in my second year of the program. I'm on the MCDM track, and I came in with about 3 years of accumulated work experience in the architecture, construction, and design field. And I'm also currently working as the outreach and event coordinator with Comm Lead. And today with me, I have two of our student ambassadors, Alice and Beijing, who will help answer your questions. So before they introduce themselves, just a quick reminder that this session is mostly focused on early versus mid-career perspectives, but feel free to ask any questions you may have about the program. So yeah, let's start with Bijin, who can give us a glimpse of the early career experience in the program. So Bijin, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your time in the program, how many years of experience you have, and how you thought Comm Lead was gonna help you advance your career?
Yeah, sure. So hello everyone, I'm Bing Wu and I'm right now in cohort 22 MCDM track. And I'm from China and I came to Comm Lead right after finishing my bachelor's degree, majoring in German studies and minoring regional studies and international relations. I have basically less than a year of working experience and I worked previously as a UX researcher at TikTok e-commerce. And I used to analyzing and interpreting audience behavior and trends. And with those social science research skills and methodologies, I served as a researcher to prescribe iterative updates to client-facing interfaces. I came to Comm Lead to seek opportunities for career change in the United States because the UX industry in the United States is more mature. And I think the most important point of Comm Lead for me is to provide opportunities for people without HCI background to become UX researcher. And I'm very happy that there is a platform that can provide us with alumni network, opportunity to make a portfolio, and courses in different directions. And at the same time, providing STEM OPT is the most important thing for me and international students. And determined to pursue a career in UX research and eager to continue learning more about the culture, and MCDM becomes my best choice. So ask me anything.
Thanks, Bijin. So next up, we have our mid-career student, Alice. So Alice, would you like to share a little bit of your story with us? What brought you to the program and how you're experiencing it as a mid-career professional?
Yes, no prob. So I'm Alice. I'm from Taiwan and I am in cohort 22 too. I'm studying MCCL, which is communication leadership, a 2-year program, 2-year track. So I have like 3 years of experience. I wouldn't consider myself a mid-career perspective, but anyways, I'm just 3 years in. But So how am I experiencing it? I mean, I think there's a lot to learn from. Okay, I have to start with my background story. I am actually an occupational therapist back in my home country. So I've been a therapist for a year or so. So like I've been working a lot of jobs actually. I did customer service, I did sales. So I tried a lot of different things. And there was this point in my life that I was like, this is not enough. I need to learn more. I need to get a degree. So here I am in this program, and there's a lot to learn from in this program. So we started September, and I already took a lot of classes I'm interested in. There's like UX designing, there's podcast, audio storytelling, and then there's so much that you can learn from. And we even make our own websites, portfolios. There's a lot that it can offer. So I feel like if you really want to have a work pivot, it is kind of perfect for you because there's everything you want. And there's UX, there's video storytelling, audio storytelling, communication and networking and advocating. There's a lot of things here. So yeah, so feel free to ask me any questions and our experience in like after working and coming back as a student. There's a lot to learn from, and well, just that's basically it for now. So
Yeah, thank you, Alice. So yeah, we will now move on to the Q&A part of today's session. Please feel free to raise your hand and unmute yourself, or you can also send the questions in the chat and I will ask them for you. I'll go in the order that we receive them. So yeah. Yeah, Kari.
Hi, thank you so much for being here today and answering our questions. I have two, and I can just ask one at a time if that's best, but I have been mostly considering the digital media track. I have a background in electoral political organizing, and I'm really interested in going into that content creation side, storytelling. And sometimes I also start thinking about more of the like artistic and like theater slash like movie production side. So like I'm exploring a lot right now. But I have noticed that the program specifically says like the Masters of Communication Leadership is best for people transitioning careers. And I just heard from you, Alice, that that's like, sounds like there's a lot to explore there. But I just like wanted to do a gut check on, is the digital media program best for people who have background in communications work specifically, or is it okay to sort of jump right in there as someone who doesn't have specific communications background?
Sure. I think I can give you my personal experience on that one because my background is in architecture and design. And even though I did know a little bit about, designing, about designing in general, it's not a communication background, right? And I'm in the MCDM track, in the digital media track. So it's definitely not a requirement. And it's actually, we have so many students who come from very diverse backgrounds. And it really depends on what your desire, I would say, goal, like your career goal is. So yeah, definitely not a requirement. It depends on you and what you want to do. The MCCL track, as Alice mentioned, it's definitely more complete in the sense that you have more requirements. You have to complete more credits. And if you're transitioning and you feel like you need that extra amount of time, it's definitely great. And I feel like it's kind of a combination of our other two tracks, like the MCDN and the NCCN, which is great if you have the time to do it, I would say. And since you mentioned a little bit about being interested in like production, we have amazing classes in the MCDM track. We have the video storytelling class, we have the foundations of video storytelling class, and then you have the advanced video storytelling class. And then we also have a practicum in video storytelling. So there are plenty of classes in that sector if you're interested. Alice, do you want to add anything about that?
Yeah, so as an MCCL student, I would tell you that there is the option to change tracks mid-study, because I would recommend you go through all the classes, because I was choosing between the two too, and I was talking to one of our faculties, and she actually told me just go through all the classes and programs, and you would find out, hey, you might be interested in a lot of different classes, and there is a lot to offer here. So I would recommend you go through all the classes our program has to offer, because as an MCCL student, I could take all these classes, and it is an amazing, like, you could go through the community networking, and then you could go with the digital media. It gives you like a lot more to offer when you are trying to do a work pivot. Like I was a therapist. I communicate with people, but like I've never done like a communications like major. So it is better if you have more options. That's from my personal perspective, but you could have definitely go through the classes, because all of them, I would actually recommend all of them, because they are actually all pretty fun. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Can I just say back a little bit? What I'm hearing is like, it might be a great idea to like start in the MCCL track. And if I like take all the classes and I'm like, you know what, digital media is like it for me, I can like make that pivot into digital media partway through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, you could
Amazing.
change tracks.
I love options. So this
Yeah.
is great. Thank
Yeah.
you.
No problem. And plus, I feel like the MCCL is easier to apply right now, because most people are like focused on digital media. That's what really happened with me. Like there is a lot of options, and a lot of people are focused on digital media right now. It's a trend. So
Sure. Actually, there's no big difference, obvious difference between these two tracks, I would say, except for some different credits and different courses. Yeah. So you can transfer from one to one, and you can choose this concentration by choosing the class you really like.
yeah, go through the degree requirements, because there are different degree requirements for each 3 tracks. So you would learn more on our website. There is actually a efficient amount of like the information you need on our program's website. Yep.
Thank you, Alice and Bijin. Kari, was that okay for your question before I move on to Adrian?
Yes, thank you so much. That was incredibly helpful.
Of course. Okay, Adrian.
Good afternoon, ladies. I really appreciate you guys. I want to echo what Carrie said and coming on to answer some questions. And I think it speaks volumes that the students are the ones leading this. It speaks volumes of the program itself. I am, I guess, what you would say mid-career. I'm about 8 years into my field of study. And I am looking to progress within mine and not necessarily pivot, but kind of pivot into the direction of Comm Lead. And I know that there's a practicum that's offered. And so I'm also trying to decide if I'm going to stay in my current job and also go to school at the same time. So I wanted to know at the practicum, are there external partners the university requires you or recommends that you use, or if you are already working for a company, you can use that work as part of the practicum?
Okay, I'm thinking you're referring to the practicum classes.
Yes.
Okay, so the practicum classes, usually you do work with a client, but it's like a pre-established client that the program finds. But there is the option of independent study. And with that, you can work with your own organization on a project that it's related to the program. And you need to have like a mentor, like one of the instructors can be your mentor, and that you can do. So that is a possibility. I haven't done it per se, but I know a friend of mine is doing it, and she is her last credits, she's doing them like that. So there is a possibility to do that, and I can try to send the link. No, I'm gonna send you Heather's email because she knows more about that. So if you want to email her and ask her more about it, but it is doable. It is possible. Both things, like the practicum classes, you're going to work with a client that has already been chosen by Comm Lead, but then you can also do then the independent study, and that would be basically like a project that you want to do.
Yeah. Okay. With I'm assuming it would have to be like vetted out, my like organization, and then approved by the school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I would love Heather's contact on that as well.
I'm gonna share it in the chat in a few minutes.
Perfect. I did have one more question, if that was okay. What is everything at the main campus in Seattle? Are they the classes Monday through Friday main campus?
Yeah, right now most of our classes are in person at the UW campus in Seattle. I think this quarter, we only have like 1 or 2 classes that are fully online. Okay. But I think next quarter most of them will be in person. Because they're trying to transition like completely back in person.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So I have to add something. Apart from FCCL, there is no mandatory capstone requirement. So yeah, for practicum courses, this is just a choice depending on whether you prefer to practice in a similar real-world environment or just in the course itself.
Yeah, that's true. Thanks, Vijay.
Okay.
Yeah, because
classes on Saturday and Sunday too. So
yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to mention
weekday classes are usually at night, so which is nice.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Except the ones that are on Saturday, it's like a full day of class usually. And then I did wanted to mention that for the MCCL track, you have to complete a capstone project, right, Alice? And for that, you can kind of choose what you want to do as a capstone.
I think I have to do the internship. 5 credit internship is mandatory. Capstone, I'm not sure. I think that was added to the curriculum. I'm not really sure actually.
Yeah.
So I have to go through the program.
Yeah,
myself,
but it's like you can choose what you want to do for the capstone. It's like independent study based.
Yes. Basically, I think independent study or capstone, I think it's different. Like, I mean, there's like different options there.
Yeah. There are different options. But if you are in the MCCL, you can do, it's like the capstone, it's like an independent study if you wanted to, or you can kind of like continue working on a project that you started at a class before.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna read one question that we have on the chat box from Joella, and I apologize if I'm not pronouncing your names correctly. So it says, I would love to hear more about the classes that focus on the leadership part of the communication leadership program. Thank you. Okay, so Alice, do you want to talk a little bit more about that? Or I can also share the list, the link to the classes.
I mean, okay, there's different tracks. I would probably need to go through it while I share that. But like the first class 501 is basically leadership through story and communities, which is a required class, which is basically learning about leadership, about values, and how to lead in a group. So there is definitely that part if that is what you're curious about. But you definitely have to go through our website and comb through different classes, and they are specified in different genres. I think there's like 8 genres, I think. So you could definitely go through those and you could find your focus. So there isn't a big problem here, but since like there's just only 3 of us and we take diverse classes, to be honest, like there's slight overlapping. So this is hard for us to like just tell you, oh, what is this class about in specific? You probably have to ask a lot of people to get all the like reviews, but yeah, we're trying to update something like to share about these things, but well, we are trying. But
yeah, definitely. So the program has different specializations, one of them being the leadership a specialization. And if you go to the link that I just shared on the chat box, you can choose the community leadership specialization and the quarter that you would like to see the classes. For example, right now, this quarter, they're having this class called Stakeholder Mindset and Communication. And there you can see the course description, the instructor, and all of that. I personally haven't taken that one class because I'm on the MCDM class with a specialization in UX design. But yeah, you can see all of the class descriptions there. And if you can see the structures, we have a page on the website where you can find the instructors, their bios, and some of them even have like their email just in case you want to reach out and kind of ask a little bit about their class. So yeah.
Yeah, and I have typed in my acquired knowledge about the community and leadership course list here in the
Oh
chat
yeah,
box.
we could actually do that. The classes we took.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think all of the courses are very useful for building communities and expressing your leadership here.
Yeah. Thank you, Vijay.
Oh, yes.
Definitely.
That will be helpful.
Okay, moving on to Lanji.
Hi, I'm Lan Yi. I have a question that's because my career path, my career goal was to be a UX researcher, and I'm wondering because I see that you have like 3 programs, right? So which is the most close to this career goal? And the second question is because I see that you need like 30 seconds for the video to show myself, right? I'm wondering for this video, so do you want me to, kind of duplicate my statement of purpose or talk about something more interesting? For example, like my hobbies, like what kind of person I am, or like this kind of interesting things. These are 2 questions. Thank you.
I may
Yeah.
ask the question.
Okay, I'm gonna answer the first one about the UX. So one of our specializations is UX and content strategy, and that's on the MCDM track. So that one would definitely be the one for you if you want to go into UX research. And we have several UX focus classes. We have UX research and strategies, like that's a class. And you can check them out on the link that I share on the chat, and you choose the UX and content specialization. That's the one that I'm doing. So it's definitely great. We have like so many different classes. And about the second question about the video, I can give you my perspective, and then Alice and Beijing can also give theirs. So I would definitely recommend do not say the same thing that you wrote on your statement. You can definitely add to it. Like if you wrote over something on the statement and you feel like you could add more about it, definitely do. Or you can tell a completely different story, kind of let them know why you would be a great fit for the program, or maybe, I don't know, a story about yourself that would show that you are a great fit for the program, or why you want to join the program, or what you plan to do in the future in your career, and how the program is going to help you get there. But yeah, definitely do not repeat the same thing. Think of this as a way for them to know more about you.
Yeah. So to answer to like go a bit into your first question, I think you're curious about which track you could do, like if you want to be a UX researcher. But in my opinion, it's basically on how many years you want to do our program and how much you want to learn from this program. It doesn't really have to go into which track you choose. Like we were answering like the Carrie, like her question is choosing the track is, well, it is a guideline, but you don't really have to be fixated to you're not married to this. You don't have to go like this throughout the program. You could take all the classes as long as you're a part of the program. So like being shared all the UX classes we offer. Basically, you could take all of those and you are prepared to be a UX researcher. But you could definitely like connect with being if you want to know more about being a UX researcher, because everybody in like the program has really diverse career plans or goals, or they're actually doing it at the same time. So you could definitely connect with other people and you could really understand like how you want to lead to your career goal. Plus, it really depends on how like what stage of career you're in. So like, are you trying to do a pivot? Are you trying to be new in the UX world? Because there's a lot of people trying to get into the UX world. So it really depends on how you're like, how is your approach? And to your second question, it's a 30-second video now. We did a 1 minute 30-second video. So
Yeah.
It's like
well,
90 seconds.
yeah. So I feel like because there's not like a lot more applicants right now, so probably it's like a 30-second one. Well, in my opinion, well, what I did was I shared another story which made like my profile more overall. It's like use all the options you have to show yourself like as a profile, as like a well-rounded person. You want the program, like the people to see like, hey, who am I and why am I here? So that's basically how you make your application like more better, to be honest. So like do the 30 seconds, tell them a story that just makes you who you are and why you are good for this program, and like that's basically how I did it. So yeah, that's me.
Yeah, and for me, I want to be a UX researcher, so I definitely chose the MCDM track. And for the video essay, I think the thing is you'd better show your vibe in this video, because this is kind of a trick from Comm Lead committee. They just want to see you and see if you are passionate about our project. And you don't need to limit it to the content itself. You can showcase your personal traits and keywords that fit the project, like technology, user empathy, and like immersion, like this thing. And I think you have to show the best, how does the project help you, and how would you fit in with this project, and what can you bring to this project? I think that's the most important thing you can show in your video essay and both personal statement.
I think I shared a story about me like helping someone during customer service and how good that made me feel by communicating and fixing a conflict. So basically you could showcase anything, just for who you are and the personality or characteristics you think it's suitable for this program, and you're like, it will be definitely good for you. So yeah.
And if you want to connect with me, I can type my WeChat ID.
Yeah, we
we
could just share our LinkedIn or whatever and just connect with us. And if you have more questions for us personally, you could just connect with us.
Oh,
No problem.
that's very helpful. And I actually see that, yeah, I see another person shares that because the like instruction still mentions 90 seconds.
Yeah, so do the 90 seconds. I think I did 1 minute and 40 seconds, but it's not a strict like really strict timeline, but I would recommend you try to like stay in the timeline, and you know, it is really demonstrating your storytelling skills, to be honest.
Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, and thank you, Alice and Being. Okay, next we have Ian.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for hosting this and the introductions and information and all that. I was curious to learn a little bit more about various perspective on the full-time versus part-time experience. It sounds like there are that the part-time classes are also in the evening, so there's maybe more chance to interact with the school as a whole, because as opposed to maybe just like, okay, here are all the evening class people versus the day class people. So it's just one thing that I was considering whether I'd want to pursue something like this as opposed to my current full-time job, or something to do on top of it.
Okay, so actually all of the classes that happen during the week are evening classes. They start at 6 p.m. until 9:50 usually, if it's a 5 credit classes, and if there are 3 credits, I think it's until like something. So they're all in the evening. The only ones that start in the morning are the ones on Saturdays and Sundays. Or during the summer, sometimes they have classes earlier. But yeah, most of the classes are in the evening, and you can definitely meet people who are full-time and people who are doing part-time, who have full-time jobs, and they basically go from their jobs to the class. So that's in that sense the only difference between the full-time and the part-time, between being a full-time or a part-time student, would be the amount of credits you are taking during that quarter. So yeah, you will meet everyone from the, like, everyone. No, it doesn't matter if they're full-time or part-time students, you will all be in the same classes. Is there anything you want to add, Alice?
Well, not really. It's just that people
Yeah.
and people are still, they could still hold off a job and study at the same time. I mean, it's gonna take longer, but well, I would definitely agree with that. You could just apply.
Yeah, actually, it's the program, it's really varied in that sense. You have a lot of people who are doing full-time, and then a lot of people who are doing part-time, because, for example, international students, they have to be full-time, like we have to be full-time. That's a requirement for a visa. We can work part-time with the university, or if we haven't find an internship, but we have to be full-time students. And then usually people who are legal residents here, they don't have to do it full time, and they usually don't. Most of them do it part time because they have their full time jobs. And then there are a couple of, I have friends who are residents here, and they decided to do the program full time just because they wanted to finish it earlier, like in a year and a quarter or so. And then I have friends who are doing it part time and are going to be here for a couple more years. So it really is up to you, depending on your career goals in general. But just want you to know that either way, you're going to have the same opportunities, the same classes, you're going to meet everyone. And yeah.
Yeah, actually, I have so many networks from part-time students from 501. Yeah, I think they basically took one course each quarter, and that will only take one night for them every week. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's the best place to, for part-time student to come here and choose every course.
Yeah, I mean, but you can be a full-time student and also have a full-time job, but I would say it's definitely challenging. It's gonna be challenging.
It will be, yeah.
Because 10 credits, even though this is a program where you don't have to sit down and study for an test, for an exam, you don't have to do that, but you have to sit down and work in your project. And usually we also have like team projects, group projects that you're gonna have to coordinate with other people. So it can be challenging to do full-time job and full-time student. But hey, there are people doing it. I'm not gonna say it's impossible. Hopefully that is helpful for you, Ian. Yeah, you're welcome. Oh no, you're fine. Yeah, we don't have any more questions in the chat, so feel free to unmute yourself if you want to ask, or send them in the chat.
And you can ask me and ask Alice and Valeska any admission questions, but you can also find it that there is an FAQ on the homepage of our Comm Lead website. There is a little robot chat box here, and you can find everything there. That's a project of our cohort 21, I think.
Yeah, the chat box. That was a student project. So we have a question from Joella. Do you know when applicants can expect to hear admission decisions? So if you apply by the February 1st deadline, you should be hearing from Comm Lead by the end of March, early April. I think on the website they say early April, but I personally got my email late March, I think. It really depends on how long it takes for them to review all the applications. But yeah, let's say by early April, you should have your answer. They say, oh, okay, yeah, March 31st. Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Kari. Yeah, because then we have the second deadline, which is in March 31st, I think. And but that one I would recommend mostly for local students, because if you're an international student, you have to do a lot more paperwork and you have to get your visa. So definitely would recommend applying by the first deadline if you're an international student.
But just saying, I got in on the second round, so don't worry, it's fine. I applied on March, so the deadline was March, the end of March, and I got in on the end of April. Like I got the notification by the end of April, so don't worry, you still have time to do that. You don't have to like give up right now. You can still do it. It's fine. If you don't have time to get your recommendation letters and all that, there is still time, but yes, definitely try on the first round since they're gonna fill up all the spaces. So yeah, you still have the option. Don't worry.
Yes.
I mean, connect with me if you have questions how to get in on second round. Just I don't know.
Thank you, Alice. And I'm
No
also
problem.
gonna share my LinkedIn on the chat if you wanna reach out in the future about anything. Yeah, I'm graduating this quarter, so I will be here until March 15. But Alice and Beijing will still be here after March.
Yes, I'll be here to 2024. So you know, you got time.
I would like really love to hear from like other folks on the call, like what their career goals are. I feel like communications is such a broad field and it's really exciting and it's an exciting time to get into it. And if anybody feels up for sharing, I'd love to hear more.
Okay, but we have a question in the chat first. Maybe we should have to deal with that first.
So this one's from La Joya. I wish to inquire about English proficiency. I received a bachelor's degree from Thailand in which all courses were taught in English. I would like to know where should I submit the official or documented letter from my undergrad institution. Okay, so when you are completing your application, there is one section that is going to be the English proficiency that you have to prove that you have. And there are several ways to kind of like fulfill that requirement. Thank you, Beijing. So the one that I did the TOEFL. So that's what I submitted. But you can definitely check out the link that Beijing shared because there are other ways that you can fulfill that requirement as apart from the TOEFL. And then the way that you submit this is when you are completing your application, basically, because you are an international student, you're gonna have that section that says English proficiency. And that's where you submit whatever results or tests that you did to complete, to fulfill that requirement. But it does have to be one of the pre-approved ways by the university.
Yeah, I took outs. So, and somebody in the chat is recommending Duolingo. So there's a lot of options. And for the official transcript, you send in. I mailed it. I think you have to mail it, or you have to do like online, like you have to go through like a website and all that. So you definitely have to read that because I mean, applying is already a year like before for us. So it's been the past. So you have to go through that yourself. And I mean, if you have other questions, you could connect with us, but you really have to go through the website to know like what is required right now, like currently.
Yeah, so the transcripts, you for the first part of your application, they don't have to be official. You can submit the ones that you have, and then once you're accepted, they're gonna request for you to actually mail like official transcripts. I personally, I request to waive that, and they authorize it because my university, it's in Panama. They don't have very good mailing, international mailing. They don't work like with the online thing that you guys have here in the US. So I kind of like applied to that, and they kind of ask you some questions. They review each case separately, and if they feel like it's okay, like you don't need to mail them, they're gonna let you know. So you can do that, but for your application you do need to submit the transcripts that you have, maybe the ones you receive after graduation. So yeah. And then so Kari wanted to know a little bit about what everyone's goal was in the communication field. So as I mentioned previously, I'm trying to get in. Well, I'm applying for jobs as a UX designer. That's what I would love to do. That's my kind of like my dream job. So that's what I'm trying to to do. Because yeah, I feel like with my background in architecture, I already had a little bit of experience with design and kind of like working with users and understanding, pain points and kind of like trying to find solutions to those problems. And I kind of like transferred those skills into UX. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. What about you, Alice and Bean? Do you have any career goal?
For me,
you could go first.
I want to be a youth researcher in the US, and when I first I didn't come to US before, and I think it will be a mixed method, like both quantity and both quality. But after I came here, I found that they basically just need some quality research method here. So yeah, and in Comm Lead, I have gained everything I need here in courses like portfolio and like alumni help, and I can get the network from I think in cohort 21 and 20, and they help me a lot. So I think I get everything there, and I really want to be a youth researcher, and yeah, as they have damn OPT here.
Yeah, same. Okay, Adrian, do you want to ask something?
Well, I was gonna answer Carrie. I'd love to know if there's other people in my career field as well. I am a subject matter expert for vaccines, and I've been working in this field for, like I said, 8 years now. And something that the pandemic has highlighted and had the negative domino effect of misinformation. And the anti-vax community has raised yet another pandemic for us in decreasing immunization rates. And so this is something that I'm truly passionate about and want to pivot and grow and be more along the lines of public affairs, and being able to get accredited information out to people and have access to that, because unfortunately it's not, and the misinformation is very loud and kind of everywhere, and so I want to combat that, and I think that the MCCL would be a great fine-tuning for me in my career, as well as I want to be able to take that and go into legislation and policy making. And those are my goals with this, and I think that this degree is really what scientists like myself need, because we're so used to being in a lab and not like talking to people, and so I want to be able to talk to people and get the information out that way.
That's great. And I don't know if you had already seen it, but some students work with a campaign that was called 2 Lives, 1 Vax, and it was basically a digital campaign to promote vaccination. I'm gonna share the link with you because we have it on our website, and I feel like you would have, like, that would be the type of work that you can do here, that it's directly connected to what you want to do. So I'm gonna share with you, and even though that already happened, there are gonna be more opportunities, and I just wanted to mention there's one thing called the consultancy, the Comm Lead consultancy, where students get to work with real organizations on different things. And through the consultancy, you might be able to find those kind of opportunities as well. So yeah, that's great. I feel like like the program would be definitely great for you. And we have people who have done exactly what you're talking about. And we have people, there are actually a few students who come from healthcare and that kind of scientific background. So yeah, I agree. You would be a great fit.
Thank you. I was hoping that there was people from that background because let's scientists, we don't know how to talk to people. So I want to change that.
So yeah, as a therapist, that is what I'm looking forward to. Like basically, I mean, we study a lot about psychology, but then again, raising the awareness in people is not that easy. So these kind of things like health communication is definitely something you can go into. And actually, we actually have like public health communication classes, which I haven't took yet because I think it's next quarter, but I feel like there are a lot of different things to offer when it comes to communicating and combining it with, no matter it's health, science, or tech, whatever. There's a lot of things. It's all people, right? So
Yeah. And I just shared the link. Oh,
The
sorry,
biggest
go ahead.
thing Comm Lead can provide you with is the skills to communicate, I think. Yeah, and also there is concentration on communication itself and storytelling. I think the 2 concentration meets all your requirements here.
yeah, and the surprising thing, there's a lot of introverts in this class. So I mean, obviously I look more like an extrovert, but like there are a lot of introverts. Don't worry. It's amazing.
Agree. I personally, I was a little bit of an introvert. It was very difficult for me to kind of like talk in a, like, talk in public and those kind of things. And the program has definitely help with that. Especially having English as my second language. That was another challenge, and I feel like I have improved so much. And now I'm here kind of like leading these meetings, which I wouldn't have thought I would do something like that like 2 years ago. So Shen, do you want to?
Yes, so I have a brief question about the difference between master degree programs and certificate programs, because so my focus is kind of in the middle of content creation and marketing. So I see you have a master's degree programs like MCDM, which is the one I'm applying to, and also you have certificate programs like film video production, leadership in emerging technologies and trends, UX visual interface design. So is it like the master's degrees programs are more academic, or the coursework is more intense? Or because I just care about the things I can learn. I don't really care about the degree I can get. So
Yeah, so the certificates are, they're shorter. I think you only have to complete 12 credits. You only have to complete 12 credits, and it's basically only 3 classes that you can take. So I think at the end of the day, it depends on what are you interested in doing. Like, do you think 3 classes, that would have to be like 2 5-credit classes and maybe 1 2-credit class, or 1 5-credit and no, you have to do like 2 5-credit classes and 1 2-credit classes. So it would depend if you feel like those 2 5-credit classes are enough to get you where you want to be. Yeah, it would have to be like a really personal decision, I think, depending on what you think your career goal is. And if you have, let's say you just want to take a couple of classes like you mentioned, and you don't really feel like you need to go through the full program, that would definitely be a good option. But yeah, I think it depends a lot on your background or on what you want to do, because if you want to pivot from one career to another, I would say maybe 12 credits, it's not enough. And having that master's title can actually help you a little bit in that pivot. But yeah, that's what I would recommend, definitely depending on what you want to do, if you feel like the 3 classes is enough for you.
I see. Thank you. Thank you a lot.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining, everyone. I'm going to share on the chat. We have an upcoming info session happening on January 20th. And our program director, Ekin Jasin, will be joining along with other faculty and students. So I'm gonna drop the link for that in case you want to register and you want to attend. And I'm also going to share my email in case you want to reach out.
Yes, I'm there too.
Yes. We have a few more minutes, but just wanted to share this before, because I know some people have to go back to work. So thank you so much for joining today. I really hope to see you around here next year. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out.
Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for joining, Kari. Thank you, Alice and Bijin. That went great. Thank you for joining.
welcome.
No problem.
Yeah, there's just us now.